pathway through a single solitary tree set on an island in the middle of a river. You know, strange. It seems somehow familiar. Welcome back, everyone, to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. In the previous episode, we fought through the Hero's Cave. Well, not really fought so much as avoided enemies through the Hero's Cave sitting just outside of her own village, and found a surprise, this wooden sword which we used to finally meet the Maku Tree, who instructed us to find 8 essences of nature hidden throughout the land of Holodrum and directed us toward this place right here. And so now, we're about to face, you know, sometimes I'm just at a loss of words for these things, you know? We're about to enter one of the first climactic points of every Zelda game, the dungeons. Welcome to Level 1, the Gnarled Root Dungeon. These dungeons and other structures, etc., are the climactic points of any Legend of Zelda game, as any fan of the series would tell you. They're the ultimate test of your power, wisdom, and courage. And, okay, there's no enemies in here. Okay, yeah, you just need to find the right block to push to open up here. As you might have already figured out between this and the Hero's Cave. Hello, Fairy. That restores up to, I believe, 6 hearts, should you have them. Perhaps I shouldn't have revealed those right away in case I need them later. Oh well, this isn't very hard for a dungeon, to be honest. And so we're going to be fighting enemies and solving puzzles as we find our way through here, eventually finding a new item that lets us do new things, facing a boss, and obtaining the MacGuffin we came here to obtain. First of all, let's head north through here. Here we have an old man for, I'm not sure what he's doing here, but what does he have to say? Return light to unlit torches. This old guy's actually a callback to some old men in The Legend of Zelda, the first one that would occasionally show up in dungeons and give you cryptic information. And I gotta say, this guy is a little more helpful than the one in a similar position in the first dungeon of Zelda 1, who just says Eastmost Peninsula is the secret. But anyway, let's push this block again and head due east. Some Stalfos in here, just regular old skeleton enemies. They just kind of shuffle around. They cause you a little bit of harm on contact. Not that hard to defeat. Fortunately, just a single slash does them in. And a key falls down from above. What do you know? Sometimes items will do that in the Oracle games. Worth noting, unlike in Link's Awakening, the Oracle games actually do have a Z-axis. I know that doesn't sound particularly notable unless you know your programming or geometry, or graph making, or... Anyway, whereas Link's Awakening would emulate a Z-axis, basically like height, essentially, by just having something come down from above and act as if it was falling down, it would just kind of scroll down from the top of the screen and act as if it was falling. The Oracle games, this stuff actually does literally fall, and so they have vertical height, and you cannot touch them until they've fallen down. It's just kind of cool. Meanwhile, in this western room, more Stalfos to defeat. This time a chest appears, and in this one is a dungeon map, a Zelda staple as far as dungeons go. Now we can press select to bring up the map screen, and we will see every room in this dungeon. So that gives you kind of an overall idea of what the level structure looks like, what rooms you have yet to explore, etc. And if you notice, this one does look kind of vaguely like a root, a little, maybe like a seed, or perhaps, as a callback to the first Legend of Zelda, a bird flapping its wings. You see, because in Zelda 1, the first dungeon was shaped vaguely like an eagle. Let's see if I can bring up the map of that thing up on the screen right now. Here we have red Zols. These, as you saw here, one slash will turn them into 2 red gels. Also a callback to Zelda 1, in which they did something similar unless you did enough damage to overkill them. The green Zols you saw in the Hero's Cave do not split into 2 gels. Now we have 2 unlit torches here. Well, that's interesting. Set in a way that perhaps if we find the way to light them, that door will open. So now we take this minecart, something else new to the Oracle games. We can take swings at stuff with our sword here. We'll move along into this room to the west. Here we have red moblins. These particular ones throw boomerangs, so keep an eye open. Let's see, does the shield block these? Let's check real fast. Let's see if I can get one to... Yes, it does. Okay, I was right. Take these out. These have a full heart, so it takes 2 swings of the sword to take care of them. These guys right here are blade traps. Don't get caught in those or you'll get hurt. Now I can push this block and open this door, mind the blade traps. Here's something a little, I should wean myself off of saying interesting. But we have a whole bunch of blocks here. You can push most of these, in fact. So the trick here is finding the right ones to push that will open up your way over here to this west side, for a chest with a gacha seed inside. And so, Zelda veterans might notice some vaguely familiar structure to this dungeon. It not only does it look vaguely similar to the first dungeon in Zelda 1, it's actually designed pretty similarly to it. Let's hit that switch, and as you've noticed, it changes the minecart track. Meanwhile, in this chest, the compass. This does a handful of useful things, mostly on the map screen. Now we will see a chest in every room with a treasure chest in it. Worth mentioning that treasure that just kind of drops down from the ceiling like keys do not show up on this map screen, so you do want to pay attention as you explore, as you do your dungeon crawl. There's also an icon that shows where the boss is, pretty obvious. But the compass is just very helpful overall. Also, if you go into a room where there is an available treasure, a little noise will go off, a little chime. We'll probably hear that real shortly as we head off to the east here, taking this path that we opened up by hitting the switch. Listen closely here. Guess not. I guess it's, There we go. Do you hear that? That gives us away. That gives away that there is something hidden in this room. That there's some kind of chest or some kind of something valuable to take. So now we sneak through here. This red thing. Keep an eye out for this thing. This thing will follow you. I don't remember its name off the top of my head. I'll just kind of put that up on the screen right now. When we press this switch, and this chest has a key in it, which of course, we're going to need that, so let's head onward. The red thing will follow you back. Just keep your distance ahead of it, and you'll probably be fine. So let's head off west here. Wait, no. We want to back up for this first. Interesting that the chime doesn't go off. I think I might know why, though. Because in this chest is just some bombs. Excuse me. Yeah. So I guess that chime actually only goes off when it's something crucial to the dungeon, like an item, or like a dungeon-specific item, like a map, that won't go off. If you already have the compass, like a map, a key, etc. And wow, I should probably just elaborate on what I did there. You see, you switch your active items in the subscreen by going into the. You switch your active items by going into the subscreen, the pause screen. All you have to do is press A or B, and the item moves over there. Whenever item you have set to that button goes back into the subscreen available as needed. So I'm personally a fan of keeping my sword on the B button at all times. That's just kind of how I roll. And so now we've got bombs set to A. The way you use them is slightly different than in Link's Awakening. You start having picked them up instead of placed on the ground. They do quite a bit of damage, but there is a delay to them, so they're hard to land. And you can't get hurt by them, so careful. But bombs have a use in dungeon crawling as well. As you probably guessed by now, that's what you use to break open these cracked walls. And in fact, there is a way to tell when a wall is cracked, even if it's not so obvious. You see, there's more you can do when you hold your sword out besides charge a spin attack. You can stab into a wall and it'll make specific sounds. And you see, when you stab a wall that can be blown open by a bomb, the sound is different. And so now, even if this wall wasn't cracked, we would know to do this. That classic secret sound thing. Whole bunch of blade traps here. Keep in mind the different colored ones at different speeds. This green one up ahead is going to be moving faster than the blue one. Careful. And here's one of those whatever they are again. You want to fake this one out. Head down here. Here's another blue one. I want to get by it this way. Very careful here. This gold one is exceptionally fast. Now we can open this door. Brace yourselves, guys. We got our first mini-boss coming up. Roar! You cannot pass! Meet the Goria brothers. These two are a nod to the Goria enemies in some of the early Zelda games. Move around, throw a boomerang back and forth, and wouldn't you know it, there were red and blue variants of the Gorias in Zelda 1 as well. And in fact, this was the first room in this dungeon's counterpart in Zelda 1 in which you first encountered the Gorias. So yeah, more references. Go figure. And so if we're smart here, let's see if we can if we can catch one of these with a bomb. Ooh, got him twice. That was nice. The Goria brothers actually don't share a health bar, but when you take one out, you'll also kill the other. So focus your fire on one of them if at all possible. Mind the boomerang though, it does hurt quite a bit and it moves rather fast. See if you can get them to stop and, ooh, wow, he ran right into it. That went surprisingly well, much better than my practice run did a while back. And so now they drop a fairy for us to heal up. That warp point will come in handy a little later. First, we want to head west. More blade traps. Well, this room feels a little familiar, doesn't it? Zelda veterans might recognize this one as another one that's awfully similar to a room in Zelda 1. Let's head down here. And this item passage itself is another shout out to the first Legend of Zelda game. I know, all these references left and right, there is in fact a reason for that. I'll get to that a ways later. But first, our first dungeon item, a seed satchel. And wouldn't you know it, it has 20 Ember Seeds inside. You see, the seed satchel is your means to carrying various types of mystical seeds in the Oracle games. We'll be finding different types of seeds as we go along in the game. These Ember Seeds, which we have here right now, are the ones we need right now. You see, using an Ember Seed just kind of has it burst into flame in front of you. It just kind of sets a temporary fire. I know it seems awfully simplistic for such an unusual, fantastic item, but it does have its uses. Uses that are, for those of you who played other games, it's rather similar to the Flame Lantern, and if you've played games in which that exists, or even really far back in like Zelda 1, the candle. Although the first candle in Zelda 1 was available in shops, and the second one was a late game item, even though it wasn't all that useful. But anyway, that warp point actually dropped us off here. Rather strange place for it to take us. Actually, every other warp point like this in future dungeons will take us back to the entrance, so it serves as a useful shortcut if you get killed or have to quit mid-dungeon. You can just go right back to the mini-boss. But there's a reason it sent us to this room. Because of these torches right here. These Ember Seeds are what we use to light these torches. Yeah, I know, it was probably really obvious, and I should probably really cut down on the exposition. But now I can go into here, mine these pits, let's take out these moblins. Fun fact, some enemies are particularly vulnerable to getting lit on fire. They'll get killed instantly if they are. You do got to get very, very close, basically point blank, so it's not as useful as just swinging your sword at them from arm's length. And again, there are enemies that are completely immune to fire, so it doesn't always work. But anyway, we have a chest, and inside it, the boss keys. Self-explanatory. We're going to need this to open up the room for the boss. And now, those of you with a sharp eye might have noticed something further back near the entrance. There were a couple more torches that we needed to light. And now that we're going back there, I should mention, there is, in fact, a reason why we're seeing so many Zelda 1 references. You see, back at the very beginning of development for the Oracle Zeldas, the original concept was a trio of games, one based on, or perhaps a remake of, the first Legend of Zelda, one based on a remake of Zelda 2, and one entirely new game. But, well, basically, it turned out that designing such a game turned out to be exactly as difficult and impractical as it sounded. And such, the three linking games became two of them. The, what would have been the Zelda 1 remake, let's light these torches, shall we? Became Oracle of Seasons, the entirely new game became Oracle of Ages, and the, what would have been the Zelda 2 remake, faded into obscurity. Fortunately, okay, keep an eye out for these things, these wall masters here, floor masters, excuse me. If they grab you, they will pull you into the floor and drop you back off at the entrance to the dungeon. Yes, they are annoying and very infamous in the series for a reason. Here's a chest we can open. Inside it is a ring. Okay, worth mentioning, whether a ring you find is a specific one or a random one will depend on a number of factors. Okay, not on a number of factors. Basically, if you just kind of find it lying around, or if you find it from a gacha tree, the ring will probably be random and within a specific tiering. The rings are tiered very differently, depending on how rare they are, how useful they are. Meanwhile, the ones you find in chests will always be a very specific one. That will become important when we get back to Vazus and appraise it. Keep that in mind. Careful spin attack really helps you clear out these floor masters. Oh. Well, this stinks. So yeah, this game started out as a Zelda 1 remake, and as such, you're going to be finding a lot of different references to that game and to various other Zelda games throughout Oracle of Seasons. It's kind of cool, to be honest. Do the floor masters respawn? No, they don't. Good. That third game, by the way, that third game was originally slotted to become a game called Oracle of Colors. That just kind of got canned early in development because it was very, very hard to make three linking games on an 8-bit system, because depending on the order you played them, you would end up with up to 6 different scenarios, which were very hard to plan around compared to the two of just 2 games with interlinking stories. But some concepts and such presumably from Oracle of Colors, did make it into Seasons and Ages, and I'll try to bring those up as we encounter them. But, rambling aside, here we are at the boss room. Yeah, we made it this far already. And so, we step through this door, time to fight our first boss. Oh boy. Any Zelda fans remember this big pain in the... Yeah? Aquamentus is our first boss. He's a horned dragon with a horn as a weak point. Yep. Very careful, he'll charge toward us slowly and then retreat. His fireballs he shoots are very fast, so be very careful and keep your distance. There's not a whole lot of warning to them, except when his horn glows. I guess there's a little more warning than I realized. Be very careful, it does take quite a few hits to his horn to take him out, because he is a big target. And you have to hit his horn, nowhere else will harm him. He will charge occasionally, so be very careful with that, because he doesn't give you much of a heads up. And then he'll fly back. You notice we're standing right under him again, because that Z-axis does exist. If you try that trick in Link's Awakening with a similar enemy, you just would have got your ass hit. Ember Seeds, in fact, don't actually do anything to harm him from what I've seen. They don't really do anything, which is unusual because in most Zelda games, a dungeon item directly helps you fight the boss and more often than not is required. With a few more hits, keep in mind, the spin attack does you double damage, but you gotta charge it. And he's done for! Let's take our spoils, a heart container which permanently increases our life energy by 1 heart. And through here... Yeah, very ornately designed, isn't it? The music and the glowing and everything. Oh, we use the dungeon item we just picked up, just for the hell of it. You got the fertile soil and essence of nature. Seeds scattered across bountiful lands are nourished in this fertile soil. We've left the dungeon, and what's this? A message from the Maku tree. It's me, the Maku tree. Some of the fertile soil has come to me. Has come to me too. I already feel stronger. In my dreams I saw the Temple of Seasons in a strange land I do not know. There I saw a precious item that will aid you, Link. That is all I can see now. And so, not only do we have our first essence of nature, we have a general idea of where we gotta go next and what we gotta do. And so, next time when Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons, we're gonna set out and, do a little side questing, but after that, head out toward our next destination and our next essence of nature. See you guys then, huh?